Hey guys, this is VJ, and today we're gonna talk about interfaces. Well, this is more of an interesting because if you are doing Java or Kotlin or something, right, you might be using this already too much. If you're not using this, then I think you're not taking advantage of full-blown OOP functionalities. That's what I can tell you, because I'm pretty sure this is one of the really interesting and useful concept when it comes to OOP programming. So let's just talk about it. What is interface and why do we even need interface? Okay, so let's just, before we get into programming, let's just think in a general way. What is interface? What comes into your mind when you talk about interface? Okay, interface, like let's take for example computer interface, right? So for example, what comes to your mind? Computer interface, so means it allows you to do certain things, right? For example, keyboard is one of the computer interface, right? Touchscreen is one of the computer interface, but what do you do with the keyboard? You type keys, right? And you have certain functionality. For example, if you want to write something, you need to type all the keys, and then key will get converted into ASCII code, and those ASCII code can then be printed on the screen or stored in the file, or bytes and everything, all this functionality. But now let's see, if you have a Mac computer, okay, and you're using Mac keyboard, can you use another keyboard with this? Then yes, if it got all the number keys and all the character keys and space and all the other keys which are required, and which are supported by Mac, Mac motherboard or whatever, right? So that part is called interfacing. Okay. So interface is nothing, it's just a description of the action an object can do and must do. So you understand, right? So for example, let's take another example of light. Light and switch and bulb. Okay, switch and bulb, let's take an example. So what is the functionality of the switch and what is the functionality of the bulb? Okay, so the functionality of the switch is when you turn it on. Okay, so the functionality is simple: turn on or turn off. What is not specified. You can turn anything on and anything off, right? The only conditions are, when you turn off, power should be cut off. When you turn on, power should allowed to pass on through the switch, right? So that is the functionality of the switch. Now if you want any object to be switched, you have to build that functionality in your object, and then your object will be switch. It's that easy. And what is the functionality of the bulb? It should just turn on and turn off. That's it. So if you want your object to be bulb, when you turn on, it should throw some lights out, and when you turn off, it should stop throwing the lights out. It's that easy. So this is how interface works. Again, I am telling you that it's just a description of actions, then object which can do and which must do. The same way in OOP, interface is nothing, it's just a description of all the functions an object must have in order to be that particular interface, or axe in this case, okay, or bulb in this case. Okay, so let's see how to do interface in Kotlin. Okay, now I'm pretty sure you guys must be little bit of clear about the interfacing concept, or you have done some programming that you are like totally clear what is interface already. You have idea. Okay, so in Kotlin we can create interface using keyword call interface. How surprising it is. So this is your interface. You can give interface like my interface. That's it. And then you can create a class, something called A, and you can pretend that the class is A. See, this is whole you need. Okay, now what happens is this class is behaving like my interface. Now it doesn't have any functionality, so by default it is there, right? Okay, so this example won't give you any idea, so I thought, why don't we just go through, one detailed example, the example of bulb and switch, right? So okay, let's create a class switch. Okay, it doesn't have any properties. Well, it can have color and size and everything, but that's not the part of the interesting that we are talking about. Okay, so let's create a function turn on. Okay, let's create another function turn off. Okay, now this is a specific kind of switch which can turn any kind of bulb on and any kind of bulb off. Okay, this is like a bulb switch. Okay, now it can take any kind of bulb, right? So we need to come up with a solution for it. Okay, let's create a bulb. I'm creating a Bajaj bulb. Okay, one class Bajaj bulb. It's got function, on means for now let's not just go and implement actual bulb, so I'm just going to say okay, Bajaj bulb on. Okay, off, and this is gonna be it's that easy, right? So now bulb can be on or off. Okay, switch can be turn or turn off. Now it can take bulb, right? So I'll just take bulb and Bajaj bulb. Okay, I'm just gonna do let's see, bulb dot it's on, so on. Now again, to off I need a bulb which is Bajaj bulb. I'm keep printing like this. Okay, so as you can see, this should work perfectly fine. Let's create one readable bulb. Bajaj bulb BB is equal to Bajaj bulb is equal to Bajaj bulb. Let's create a switch of type switch is equal to switch. I'm gonna do switch dot turn on. Let's see, I need to pass on bulb, which is a BB that I'm passing. Okay, it should compile and run. It's that easy. Bajaj bulb on, right? Now that after some time I thought, oh, Bajaj is a good and whatever, but I want to add Philips bulb. So let's create a class Philips bulb, right? Okay, just gonna just copy and paste because yeah. Okay, interesting, isn't it? Now how you gonna do this? So to do that you might have to create two functions again, like this, turn on Philips, turn off Philips. It's gonna take Philips bulb, Philips bulb, right? Then you have to create another Philips bulb Philips bulb PB. See, still not working. Okay, now it should work. But what is the issue with this? Okay, it should work. Of course, it will work. But do you see the issue in here? Sorry, because I just printed out. Don't worry, guys. This is Philips. Shit, man. Okay. Whatever. Okay. But as you can see, the issue in here is, class, yes, we created. But see, for switch, we need to create interface for all kind of bulbs, Now, what if there are 100 kinds of bulbs, You don't want switch to be like that, TV size, right? So what switch will do instead of this is switch will say that I will have a common interface, okay? Here the interface come into the play. I'll take all kind of bulbs, okay, which will have a function of on and function of off. I'm not specifying what functionality you should do with the on or off, but all I care about is you need to have these functions on or off. Okay, so let's see how much code I'm reducing. I'm deleting this, so Bajab, I'm just saying that any kind of bulb will be fine as far as it's got this method on or off, right? See, so now you can create hundreds or even 1,000 kinds of bulb, and switch still will have these two methods only. Okay, now we'll go to here. Now Bajaj bulb is still now not comparable. Why? Because we need to make it bulb. So to make it bulb, we need to implement this interface. Okay, and to implement, we need to override. That's it. So now our Bajaj bulb is a kind of bulb that our switch supports. So it should turn on. Now if you see, instead of Bajaj bulb, you can actually give a type of bulb. Why? Because it's bulb, we actually made it to be X. I told you, right, in the previous definition, this is the X. And we have a switch, and even Philips bulb, let's make Philips bulb also a bulb. Easy, right? Now it's bulb. We need to just override both the functions. Easy peasy. So for example, if you want to actually create a third kind of bulb, what you just create a class that extend the bulb, and you actually override on and off methods, and you are done. That's it. You don't need to change anything in the interface bulb, or you don't need to change anything in the interface switch. Nothing. Just create a class that extend or implements this interface. It's that easy. Now then you create an object of type bulb switch. You provided So here I'm just, because now Philips is also a bulb. If you see, right, now see, both are bulbs. So instead of just doing different method, you can actually give switch turn on Philips bulb. You don't need to just turn off that bulb. Okay, so see, you can see the interface is really good now. It's really very ergonomic, means you can easily extend, and this is like the scalable architecture. You can put thousands of bulb kinds and it will work. Bajaj bulb on, Philips bulb on, right? Because whatever functionality you need to provide, you are actually building. Just you are overriding the interface that switch needs. So this is like the common method of interface. One other thing is, you can actually provide the default implementation, print ln, let's see. So for example, turn on, right? If nothing's on, do nothing, just print it out. Oops, sorry, I already print ln. So this is, for example, if someone, so for example, right now in this interface there are just two methods, right? There will be an time where if you are building some sort of really complex system, there might be so many methods involved in some interface, right? But now you don't want all the objects to or classes who are implement that interface to implement all the methods, right? But they need to have those all the functionality. So instead of that, you can actually provide a default functionality inside interface only. So we have provided this. For Philips, let's just comment this thing out. Okay. Okay, I tried doing with Vim, but it didn't work. I need to install the plugins. Okay, now turn on. Okay, so let's see. It's compiling. So boom, this is a default method, right? Means what happens in here, the Philips bulb, you cannot turn it on because Philips bulb didn't provide. But instead of short circuiting, right, the interface itself will take care of it. That this is, I'm not sending power because whatever, I don't care. I'm just going to alert you that this is default method or whatever, So the thing is, now it just needs to implement a turn off method, off method. That's it. So for example, if you have 50 methods, right, and one object just needs to implement like 3 to 4 methods, you are not going to implement all other remaining methods. That's what you do. You just give some default implementations of that particular method. So this is how interface works in Kotlin. It's super useful if you can take advantage of it. You will be writing a way less amount of code. All you have to do is just create a system where you identify all of the components, and between the components, so where interface come into the place. So between the components you provide the interface. So for example, if you have a MVC kind of architecture, right, so in all the model, right, for example in MVNC, so model is connected with view is connected with controller and something on some specified flow, right? So now model is what data is, right? All the data and all the data structures and everything. So what you can do is you can actually create an interface like a read interface and write interface with some specified classes. When I read, I need in return a class of data, and when I write, I need I will give a class of data. And then so instead of without interface, what you have to do, you have to create a read and write method for all the data sources, right? For example, if you are doing some sort of like Postgres, storing in Postgres, then you have to do for that. If you are storing as a cache in Redis, then you have to do that, and you write all the logic and all those kind of things, right? But what you can do is you can actually create this, and every data source will implement that thing interface, model interface or data interface. Okay, so you don't have to do anything. You just say database dot read, and you pass on whatever parameter you have to pass, like Postgres or Redis or whatever data source, right? And it'll take care of it everything. So a lot of code you can actually avoid writing by just using interfaces on the implementer side, but on the usage side. And it'll resolve a lot of your complexities and everything, so okay, just read more about it. If you can, just let me know if you have any questions. You have my Twitter handle already. So thank you very much, guys. In next tutorial we are going to talk about generics, another really interesting and important topic when it comes to building big systems and stuff. Okay guys, thank you.